Most kind. Still 7-2 High Troja, 9-2 Spaceship. MacArthur is still at 6-1. 8-1 St Paul d'Avance, Steve's paddock pick from 9s. 10-1 Greeley's Love and Forging the Path. 12 London Citizen and Salutation, and also Mundahesh. 25 Pasaka Boy, and King Muro is 33-1. Market is largely unchanged.
7-2 the field then for the opener on Investec Derby Day. At those prices, 7-2 and 9-2, as we see the O'Brien contingent out on the track, I'm not convinced I'd be a backer at either of the top two in the market. That's not to say they won't win, but
I know what you mean. I mean, I've got my doubts about whether you can complete the trust in Newbury form that High Troja in, only because it was such a slowly run race, and the handicapper did whack Spaceship up £13. They're in-form horses. One thing they have got, we mentioned many horses here who've got doubts over them in terms of current well-being, but will no doubt make them finish first and second, Stuart. But I tend to agree with you. I wouldn't be interested in in either of them at those prices.
If possible, and logistically it may not be, but I'd like to get another look at McAfee as he makes his way to the start, or indeed if he is at the start, because as you correctly pointed out, Steve, he was pony to post at Newmarket last time. He certainly went down early in the Haydock race in September last year, and I'd just be intrigued to see what they've done with him today. He's obviously not in that cluster there.
No, he's so far, and I say we're only judging him in paddock to paddock, seems less on his toes and a bit calmer than he was at Newmarket, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think so.
He had the two handlers there, but one of them was just walking beside him and wasn't involved, where my memory is at Newmarket, I may be wrong, is that he needed both of them. And there he is being pony to start again. They're going down very slowly. I mean, he's interesting. He ran well in what was a good race last time. I thought at the time that might be the limit of his stamina, but the 10 furlongs here, unlike the mile and a half, isn't as stiff a test because you haven't got that severe hill which you have in the mile and a half races, and it may be that this trip will actually be fine for him, and for you to come on and talk for the run, he's not without some interest.
I suppose his chance may hinge on the tempo that the race is run at, and we mentioned Salutation as being perhaps the likeliest front runner in the race. King Muro tends to race up the pace as well. He has been keen on the odd occasion as well, King Muro, so he would benefit if Salutation did set a decent early exchange.
I'd be surprised if Salutation didn't really give him
that type of horse, isn't he? I think physically as well.
He is, and his best performances have come doing it. I think we're going to see one of his good days, and this is the McAfee's, and a few others as well. This was a good performance. High Troja ran well here and have run well in his debut, and has run well again obviously when winning at Newbury next time out. Salutation on the other hand, having run a cracker here, last run I can't understand. I mean, he was beaten a long way, and the worry in the back, he doesn't win here, but he beats a real in-form horse and meets a really in-form horse in Andrew Baldwin's charge. He then won next time out to confirm this form before flopping, and it may just be a coincidence, but if you look at his form last year, from being in pretty good form, it really tailed off at the end of last year, and I'm hoping it's not a case of history repeating itself.
The Nottingham win was a dominant display against lesser opposition.
Definitely.
And he ran them into submission up a long home straight there. I agree with you about the run last time, and it would seem that Connections were at a loss to explain it as well. I suppose what concerns me slightly less about it, to an extent, is that he reappears only 8 days later. So presumably nothing has come to light at home, so at the moment Connections are perfectly happy to accept that was a blip and get on with it.
Yeah, but it might in some way be easier to explain if there was something physical. I mean, your worry is that it's scant evidence. I'm not saying it's happening, but it's just a worry that his form tailed off last year, and that's probably more mental than physical. But we'll see. That may not be the case. It might be that it will get a reasonably easy time in front if they want to do it, because most of these horses appear to prefer being held up just off the pace.
Yeah. We should touch on prevailing conditions at Epsom this afternoon. I know you were elsewhere yesterday, Steve, but we ended up sort of mid-afternoon with a very warm, pleasant early summer afternoon. It cooled down slightly later in the afternoon into the evening, but it's been dry. It's been a dry morning. Not as warm today. Stiffish breeze blowing, is that fair?
Yeah, mainly helping them, but it's been a very nice morning overall, and this is a place that can dry out pretty quickly. You wouldn't be totally shocked if he's not a million miles away from good ground. We'll know more after this race. 2 minutes 5.6 the standard. If we go a decent pace, we might have an idea, but I suppose I'm half thinking it's going to be not far from good ground. So, slow side of good, maybe?
That was certainly the feeling John Gosden had when I spoke to him yesterday after Gregorian's win. He said by today it should just be proper, perfect, good ground, perhaps a little on the slow side.
Yeah.
We shall find out. McAfee is attracting support, now 9-2 from 11-2. Outside the top three, slightly surprised that St Paul de Vence should be only an 8-1 shot.
Yeah, well, certainly on the Windsor, I say he looks great, and whether he's just coming to himself, I don't know. But he was well beaten at Windsor on his reappearance. That was his first run for 4 months. I guess he's entitled to improve. Yeah. It's really a question whether the 2 furlongs longer trip suits or not. And I suppose I'm down the middle, thinking I'm not sure really. I can see why they're doing it. I'm not absolutely convinced it will suit, but we'll see. He does look in very good condition.
Forging the Path, utterly friendless, 14-1, having opened up at 8-1. That surprises me a little. Maybe he just opened up too short in the first place and it's a bit of market correction going on, but it is his handicap debut. The downside, it looked an ordinary race at first, but after 3 runs and over a new trip, he ought to have more to offer.
Yeah, no, he is noticeably weak, isn't he? I thought 79 was okay. I say it wasn't a deep race, but it was competitive enough in terms of numbers. I didn't think the handicapper could give him much less. I thought it was reasonable, but it's clearly not popular.
So 7-2 High Troja, Spaceship at 9-2 with McAfee, the latter in from 11-2. St Paul de Vence at 8-1, with a reminder that Neil Callan puts up a pound overweight. Greeley's Love at 9s, 11 Salutation, now clipped at 10, 11 Mundahesh, London Citizen at 12-1, Forging the Path at 14-1 and 25-1 bar. Loading up, so let's pull the threads together, Steve.
Thought it was really tricky. This has been a really good race on some occasions in the past. I'm not sure it's up to some of those years. Difficult. I mean, I have a feeling McAfee will run okay. I thought he ran well enough at Newmarket. For what we've seen, and we haven't seen him all the way down, he appears, if anything, very slightly less edgy than he was that day. So, but I mean, it's a race, to be honest with you, which I think is very difficult.
3 to go for the opening race of this year's Investec Derby Day, and as the final trio prepare to slot in, and McAfee looks like being the last of those, we head high up to the top of the grandstand and say good afternoon to our big race commentator. It's Richard Hoyles.
Thanks, Stuart. McAfee is the last one to go forward, pony to the start, lots of contraptions around the horse's mouth in the paddock. So McAfee's the last for the Investec out of the ordinary handicap. They're off and racing. First race on Derby Day, the runners leave the stalls, and King Muro it is, along with Pasaka Boy, and wider out Salutation, who's pressing forward, are the early ones to be seen to advantage. High Troja tracks the pace in company with London Citizen. At this stage, Mundahesh is the one that's been given time at the rear of the field and trails them by about 3 or 4 lengths as King Muro leads through the first furlong. Salutation races in second. Pasaka Boy drops into third place with London Citizen, then Forging the Path out wider the blue sleeves of High Troja, purple jacket on the fence. Greeley's Love comes next ahead of McAfee in the yellow and black colours, St Paul de Vence, Spaceship, and last of all is Mundahesh as the runners prepare to reach the highest point of the racecourse, turning left-handed and beginning the descent. And King Muro it is who leads, with Salutation keeping the leader honest in second place. Couple of lengths to Pasaka Boy, who is in third, ahead of London Citizen, who's on the outside of High Troja and Forging the Path. Greeley's Love and McAfee are the next 2 ahead of St Paul de Vence, and still Spaceship and Mundahesh will be posting the leaders a dozen lengths start as they run downhill, proceeding down towards Tattenham Corner. And out in front, King Muro it is who leads with Salutation and Pasaka Boy, and the front trio have about 4 lengths in hand over London Citizen. Cornering in 5th place will be High Troja. They have half a mile to travel. Behind these, Forging the Path and Greeley's Love. King Muro leads the turn in. Salutation poised to have first crack at the leader. Then Pasaka Boy, 4 lengths back to London Citizen. Then High Troja. Plenty of these with a fair bit to do. McAfee comes next with Greeley's Love. Spaceship is running on from a long way back, the yellow cap, and is beginning to close off. Out in front, King Muro, Salutation, then Pasaka Boy. High Troja's red cap, Greeley's Love in the orange colours, is staying on, running down the camber, impeding London Citizen. King Muro for Hayley Turner leads. Pasaka Boy has moved move through now to head the chase. Greeley's Love is in third place. In fourth is High Troja. Not many getting in it. Pasaka Boy noses to the front. Greeley's Love making life hard for Silvestre de Souza. On the inside, battling on is King Muro, but it's Pasaka Boy who leads and driven out. The resurgent Jonathan Portman Yard gets the first winner on Derby Day. Pasaka Boy won it. Tight for second, Greeley's Love, who was very awkward up the straight with King Muro. They're involved in a photo. Behind those in fourth was High Troja.
First strike on Investec Derby Day for Jonathan Portman and for Richard Kingscote. The 25-1 chance Pasaka Boy wins the Investec out of the ordinary handicap. It is officially a photograph for second, involving 8 Greeley's Love and 12 King Muro. First impressions were that Greeley's Love had perhaps bobbed a second, and perhaps he should have won Greeley's Love, but he looked all at sea on the camber inside the last quarter mile. Leaning left, tightening up, London Citizen, who was quite badly hampered in the process, and then having done that, Greeley's Love continues to lean into the quarters of the winner, Pasaka Boy. He is, however, second. Greeley's Love, King Muro is third, and Salutation, who tracked the pace, having used up energy to get there from a slow start, fills out fourth, and London Citizen, perhaps a little unlucky in fifth, not to have finished closer, because having regathered his momentum, he was running on again. Steve, let's take it from the start. Salutation didn't get the best of breaks on the outside, and that rather did for him to an extent with his front running role.
Yeah, it certainly helped King Muro, who was keenish but was in the end allowed a reasonably soft time in front. Salutations has been rushed up to get where he got, and the first thing to mention, it's fairly obvious, is it's pretty difficult to make ground here. The winner sat third, the third sat in front, the fourth Salutation, despite I think got a very slight bump as well, that ended up that was in second place, and the runner-up has come from mid-division, so certainly he's probably done quite well to make up the ground despite not handling the track.